Hello, I'm back again. Uh, Glad to be here. It's getting real close to Christmas time. I'm sure all of you are busy getting ready for the season. I hope everybody's well. It's going to be kind of a different Christmas this year. But I wanted to read an account of Christmas from out of the Bible. I find it in Matthew, the book of Matthew, chapter 2, and I'm going to read a little bit. Begin verse 1 and go down to about 11. So here's what it says. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born, King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. So I'm going to stop right there right now. And I want us to look at this. God's Word has a way of speaking to us. And if we dig deep in and really look at it, we can learn from all of it different things that might affect our lives, that might help us with things we're going through. So I want to look at this right now. We see here three wise men, and they saw a star. They had heard that apparently that a new king had been born, and they'd come to pay homage to him. They didn't know where he was at that time, but they saw a star, and I can just imagine that they must have been real excited. Their expectations must have been great. After all, he was a king, a new king. What else could it be but a splendid, splendid thing? They must have thought, wow, we're going to be in a place of power and a place of majesty, and probably he's in a place like a palace or a castle, because after all, he's a king. So their expectations were really high, I'm sure. I can imagine that. If you think, I think we can all imagine what their thoughts must have been when they topped over that last hill or rounded that last curve in the road and came upon a little village and a stable. That star ended up being over a stable. If you remember the Christmas story, Christ was laid in a manger. There was no room for him in the inn. So I can imagine their feelings when that star ended up over a stable instead of a great, magnificent palace or anything like that. They must have been a little disappointed when they first saw that stable. They must have thought to themselves, surely this can't be where this new king is. But they went down, and they found out that was where he was. Now, I'm saying all this to say this. That didn't sound very good, saying all this to say this. I want to explain. We all travel through this life with expectations and great. We imagine great things for our lives, and we think of the great things we might accomplish. And sometimes, and probably more times than not, we're disappointed. Come to a place of disappointment. It's not like we thought it would be. I want to tell you today, as we come into this Christmas season, that in those places of disappointment, in those stables of life, Christ is there. Christ is there. He can be found in the middle of our disappointments. I don't know what you might be facing, but I know enough to know that all of us face those times of disappointment. But Christ is there and he's waiting for you. And if we'll humble ourselves, admit our sin, recognize him as Lord and King, he'll come in. And then I want to read the last verse, verse 12 of chapter 2 of Matthew. After they did all these things, they presented him their gifts. It says, that last verse says, and being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. Now here's what I want you to see in this. After they met Jesus, they left and went a different way. That's what happens when any of us meet Jesus. We walk a different way. We act a different way. Our lives become different. And that's the lesson that we can learn in these short verses, these 12 verses. So I hope that this blessed you, and I pray that your Christmas goes well. And I plan on, good Lord willing, being back here next Wednesday, and we'll talk to you then. God bless.